Grand Manoeuvre, Hoplite Wars. This is a short video to introduce you to basic themes and ideas in my new rules, Hoplite Wars. The basic concept of movement in the rules is regulation. Regulation, what is it? Well, it's very simple. It's the means by which troops were managed in the ancient period, and later on in the Renaissance to late 19th century. It's something actually that gamers have done for many years. We've lined our miniatures up in nice neat lines, like this, and this, and we've moved them around, and we've tended to habitually dress and straighten the lines as we go along to making them nice. But the real historical reason for this is that it is best to present an even line and engage the enemy in one ordered and united body of troops. Now, this is really what regulation is about. It's about getting from A to B and engaging the enemy without getting an awful mess. With these rules, you will be able to do that. The principle is very, very simple. We have the general, who's positioned on the right, and he is with the regulating unit, and the regulating unit moves forward, and then the units to the left of him keep pace, so the line is maintained. We'll not bother really about positions of supporting troops and their generals. We'll assume that actually the forces here are too small for that to be represented here, because you've got just one or two bases here and there of light, medium and cavalry, light, medium infantry and cavalry. Well, I think it's possible now to move on and explain something about orders, and maybe an optional rule. So let's get on with it, shall we? Orders. Most hoplite games will be simple, but there are some details now which I might add just to give you an idea of what might follow when troops actually get into contact and actually get to do some fighting. Here in this video we're assuming that one side, the nearest to us, okay, is on attack orders. They would therefore be in open order, because that's the best way to attack. It means they don't trip over each other. The other side, the one furthest away there, is on the defensive. These will be in close order, which gives them the benefit when the sides first meet in the charge. I'll return to this later in another video, perhaps hand in combat. So I've deployed our two small armies at the recommended deployment distance. This is 40 centimeters. This deployment distance equates to 2 normal cavalry moves. Here I'm using 20mm figures, plastic figures, mostly on 6 centimeter bases, and so the game deployment distance will be 40 centimeters. This is just beyond the longest missile range of slingers, which is 30, which is something like about so that covers deployment distances. Now I was going to make you the claim that you wouldn't need any dice or cards or anything tricksy to determine who moves first and how far in this game, but for this optional rule coming up, and it's about drifting. There had to be an exception, of course, but then this is an optional rule. Drifting is a phenomenon that took place in most hoplite battles. Hoplites had a natural tendency to edge to their right, and that was to seek the cover of the shield of the hoplite next to him. Now, although armies may have arrayed in parallel, overlaps were common, with each side's right wings flanking, overlapping, and possibly flanking their opponent's left. Let's move this army, shall we? Let's see how it works. The amount of drift is variable in the game. Rolling a dice gives us the result, and I'll do that now. We've got a 4, which equals a 1 centimetre drift. So what we'll do is we'll just move the hoplite base that is the leading one, the directing one, or rather the regulating one, forward 12, which is the movement, and then we'll just shunt him 1 centimetre sideways. Doesn't seem a lot, but over 2 moves it could overlap a bit, and it can overlap them as much as 8 centimetres between 2 sides, which is more than the base. So then we just move them all accordingly. They've all followed, or rather pushed or nudged their leaders sideways in effect. So it's the sort of thing that less experienced troops would do. Better ones, elite ones, there's more of a lower chance of that happening. So there it is, that's the first turn, and already we've got a slight move to the right hand side, and we can also vary it again and say, well, we roll again. Well, there's a 6, there's a 2 centimetre drift in the second turn. They're getting a bit shaky, a bit nervous. We'll move again the regulating base forward, and then to one side 2 centimetres, and then the others follow. Now you can see now that as the sides close, with the defenders staying still, there's almost already an overlap on this side, on the right hand side, which seems to work out fine for this army, because well, they outnumber the others and they'll get an overlap and possibly a flanking move subsequently. The next move, well, let's do it, let's see what happens. It's another 2 centimetre shift, so you'll have let's just measure the distance, see if they cannot. They might just get into contact. No, they don't. They're just short of a charge move, so they will end up 12, and then another 2 centimetres sideways. Takes them well clear, and the others follow. And by the next turn, the 4th turn of the advance, which is coming up next, there will definitely be an overlap and a strong possibility for flanking. There's no overlapping on this side, but you can see already that there's a possible advantage here with the advancing side, in that they've actually got a chance to flank pretty soon. Not in the first turn, of course, because it requires some form of initiative, but it is likely to happen in maybe the second turn of combat. So that's drifting. Very simply, been rolling for each turn. You can do it overall for each turn. 3 equals a 1 centimetre drift, so it's going to be a 4 centimetre drift overall, which gives them an easy overlapping on one side, and actually overlapping that would actually give this side an overlapping on both sides. Well, there it is. That's the first part of my introduction to the rules. I hope you've enjoyed looking and listening, me going on about all sorts of stuff. Thank you very much.